And then we're about 1 minute out.
Okay.
All right, my clock says 6:30, so I'm going to start letting people in. Have fun.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're going to wait a few minutes for others to join in, and then we'll get started. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Georgina Vivian with VRPA Technologies and the outreach team for this project. I'd like to first say thank you for attending the virtual event this evening for the Fresno and Madera County sub-region regarding the Caltrans State Route 99 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan, or CMCP, and the related transportation planning process that goes along with it. We will be recording this session tonight so that we can capture all of your input, your very important input. Next slide, please. Today, we will host the meeting with Spanish simultaneous interpretation. If you are a monolingual English speaker, no changes to your setup are needed. Linguistica staff and the outreach team will now provide you with instructions to access the Spanish channel for those Spanish speakers who would like to hear tonight's event translated into Spanish. Christina?
Hola, buenas noches. La reunión de esta noche se conducirá con interpretación simultánea. Si usted es monolingüe en español, seleccione el icono de interpretación que parece a un mundo en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Luego seleccione español. Si está usando un teléfono, seleccionará los 3 puntos para ver más opciones, seguido por interpretación y después español. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Christina. Next slide, please. So I'd also like to review some other housekeeping issues. All attendees will be muted during this session tonight, and your video will also not be available during the event. If you have a question during the presentation, please post your question or comment in the Q&A box or in the chat box. We will monitor the questions and present non-repetitive questions as they are added to the Q&A box and when the presenter is available to answer them. Next slide, please. There are several agencies and firms that are involved in preparing this important study, including Caltrans District 6, 10, and 3, as well as members of the Jacobs Consulting Team, including Jacobs Transportation, the RPA Technologies, AIM Consulting, and Linguistica. All of us have traveled along State Route 99 for our daily activities, whether commuting to work or to access shopping or services. I personally traveled every day for 7 years to downtown Fresno from Madera County and travel it now for work in northern and southern regions of California. Tonight is your turn to let us know how you use State Route 99, help us learn and identify your challenges with the corridor, and most importantly, help us identify the solutions you believe can address those challenges. At this point, I'd like to briefly review the agenda for the remainder of this hour-long event. We have a full agenda tonight for the session. Members of the study team will provide you with an introduction related to the planning process, and there will be polling questions throughout so that you can provide us with your opinions related to State Route 99. We will provide you with some background information related to previous planning studies along the State Route 99 corridor and with some information related to current conditions. It will also be important for us to learn about your solutions or your methods that could be used to address challenges along the corridor. Finally, we'll identify the next steps in this planning process so that you can continue to be engaged. Next slide, please. I will now turn the presentation over to Alec Kimmel. He is the branch chief for system planning with Caltrans District 6. Before you get started, Alec, maybe you can provide some discussion about why you use State Route 99 and why it's important to you. Alec?
Thank you for that introduction, Georgina, and welcome everyone to this public workshop. Speaking personally, having lived in Fresno for most of my life, I utilize the 99 corridor regularly, specifically a segment between the junction with State Route 180 and Olive Avenue that I use every day that I go into the office where I work. I have many memories of State Route 99 and traveling along State Route 99 throughout my life, some fond, others less so. But the impression that I want to leave with you all is that 99 for me has really been a link from where I am to the rest of the state and the rest of the world. In a word, 99 is home. It has connected me and my family to destinations north and south of Fresno for as long as I can remember. And my career as a transportation professional has enhanced my personal experience with an appreciation for how State Route 99 is truly the lifeline of our valley. Growing up, I took the agricultural industry on the corridor for granted, but after a recent drive across the American West, I realized how special it is and what we have here in the valley. So with that, I would like to welcome you all on behalf of Caltrans District 6 to the initial round of virtual public workshops for the State Route 99 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan. As Georgina mentioned, my name is Alec Kimmel, and I am the Caltrans Corridor Planning Representative for Caltrans District 6. And the focus for this workshop is for State Route 99 in Fresno and Madera counties. We are committed to addressing the needs of the communities on the corridor, and we encourage you to share your ideas for what improvements on and along State Route 99 would benefit your communities. So we look forward to hearing your thoughts and your ideas for the State Route 99 CMCP. Back to you, Georgina.
Thanks so much, Alec. For our first question for you tonight, we would like to get a sense of where you live in relation to the State Route 99 corridor. If you were with us in person, we of course would ask you to sign in and provide your zip code, and we would have that information. But instead, since this is virtual, if you could please provide the city and zip code where you currently reside in the chat box, that would be wonderful. We will give you a couple of minutes to do that. Doug, do you want to provide us with a sampling of where most people are from?
I see quite a lot of Fresnos here, and a few Clovis, Visalia, as well. Thanks to Auberry for showing up tonight, and also to O'Neill's.
Great. Great. Thank you so much for your input. Katie DeMaio with AIM and our outreach team will now load the polling question as we move. Well, she'll be loading all of the questions as we move forward through the presentation. Katie, if you could launch the next question, that would be great. This question is, why do you use State Route 99 the most often? So the first potential answer is that you use it to commute to work. You go to the store. You reach services such as medical services. You use it to get to school, or you use it to visit family and friends. Another reason might be leisure activities. And then finally, other, item G. If you do choose other, if you could please let us know in the chat box what other relates to, that would be great.
Great, let's keep it open here just for a minute or so. We got
Sounds
people
good.
coming in.
Mhm.
About half have responded so far. Thanks for
Great.
everybody. And again, you can also use the chat box to both answer it or put the other in, like Diana just said, to leave town, but. All right, we'll just keep it open for about another 10 seconds. All right, we had 13 answers. Let me
Great.
share the results.
Thank you. So it looks like the most popular answer is commuting to work, which makes sense. Other answers tied include reaching services, leisure activities, and then other. Doug or Alec, if you could let me know what those answers are in the other category in the chat box, that would be wonderful.
Sure. I think I appreciate John's comment that illuminated that he used to use it for work and now has moved on to use it for leisure as he's retired, and for site visits. But it looks like most of the responses were captured in the poll tonight.
Great. Okay. Next, we have a video. We'll play the video at this point. It's been prepared to highlight the State Route 99 planning process. It's very informative. We hope you like it.
Caltrans is developing a comprehensive multimodal corridor plan, CMCP, for State Route 99, SR 99, from Bakersfield to Sacramento. SR 99 is crucial for goods movement and interregional connectivity. Although sections of SR 99 have been improved over the years, more work is needed to address growing safety, access, and traffic demands. The CMCP will guide future corridor decisions considering transportation trends, emerging technologies, community needs, and state and local policies. The planning area includes Caltrans Districts 3, 6, and 10, and 8 counties in coordination with their metropolitan planning organizations and transportation planning agencies, as well as local agencies and community partners. Caltrans has been planning for a cohesive SR99 corridor since the early 2000s through Caltrans District's Transportation Concept Reports, California System Management Plans, and the SR99 Business Plan. These efforts highlight multimodal opportunities for enhancing the SR99 corridor. When complete, the SR99 CMCP will carry forward the vision of these plans and reports. The Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, Senate Bill 1, established the Solutions for Congested Corridors program with an annual budget of approximately $250 million. This program funds projects that deliver specific, measurable performance improvements and align with comprehensive corridor plans. These projects can span state highways, local streets, public transit, rail facilities, cycling and pedestrian infrastructure, or necessary mitigation efforts. The CMCP will showcase agency coordination and robust analysis, enhancing the region's competitiveness for federal and state funding. Over the course of the next year, we will be looking not only to our partners and local agencies for input as we develop the CMCP, but also to you, the users of the corridor. We will be hosting a series of virtual events at key times during the planning process, both to inform you and to request your feedback. Virtual meetings will be held in each of the counties. Please join us to help identify priorities, concerns, and solutions that improve the SR99 corridor and adjacent communities.
Great. Thank you. Back to the presentation. Our next presenter is Doug Johnson. He's the Principal Transportation Planner with Jacobs Transportation. He'll present information on the background planning process, existing conditions, and the identification of potential solutions to improve State Route 99. Doug?
Thanks, Georgina. And I just want to reiterate and thank everyone for joining us this evening. We appreciate your valuable time. I'll share the view from the back seat. Many times in the 70s and 80s, back when my dad worked for the Farm Bureau, crossing the valley, often heading up into the mountains for a weekend, remain to this day some of my absolute fondest memories, and think fondly of those days. Next, this study is lives in a series of studies that you can see here on the chart, which have been building for decades and are guiding many past and current investments in the corridor today. Most recently, Caltrans has led an update of their business plan. Caltrans District 3 is working on a managed lanes plan in that county. Each county has updated their regional transportation plan and sustainable community strategy. And in addition, this study represents one of the first times that 3 Caltrans districts have been tasked to work together to conduct one of these multimodal studies. Next slide. As you may have noticed in some of the maps we've shown already, the study area goes from Interstate 5 all the way to US 50. According to Google Maps, it is not quite 300 miles. It is roughly 298 miles. But these miles importantly link together a wide variety of communities and uses spanning the San Joaquin and Sacramento valleys, and crosses 8 counties as well. In addition, though, to looking just at State Route 99, a multimodal study is also going to be looking at critical bike and pedestrian improvements in those communities along and across State Route 99, promoting and increasing opportunities for more travel by transit as well as by rail. The plan also is going to integrate and work with both local plans, but also state plans, such as the California Freight Mobility Plan and the State Rail Plan, which kind of provide important, guideposts for our process. Next slide. A comprehensive multimodal corridor plan has really 4 key steps. The first is to really build and collect information to define and understand the corridor. Next is to really start to dig into what are some of the gaps and some of the challenges in the corridor, but also look for some of the opportunities. Next phase is to identify solutions. And then the final step is to develop an implementation plan. And you can see we're here tonight in a series of 8 workshops, focusing here on these first 2 boxes with a preview of some of the solutions. And we're looking forward to coming back to you all at the end of the calendar year in the winter to review some of the solution evaluation work and preview and help build that implementation plan. In the next slide, we're going to just allow for a second for translation. So if you all just stay with us for a sec. Phil, next slide. In order to, build a plan and an implementation plan, we are guided by a series of goals from various local and county plans, as well as from key statewide plans as well. You can see they range broadly from promoting and improving public health and preparing for climate changes to supporting the economy and taking good care of our infrastructure. Especially important is the need to promote and continue to create a safe system. Caltrans's Vision Zero goal is to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on state roadways by 2050. And to help meet that goal, Caltrans is working with counties to develop and implement the safe system approach to both identify challenges and interventions and evaluate progress. And those are some of the key inputs that we'll be using to build our set of solutions going forward. But these goals really allow for us to look at where we want to be in the future, and as we look ahead to where the system will be for the next generation. Next slide. We've got our next poll question.
So Katie, we're now ready for the next polling question related to goals. And launch that. Great. So which of the 2 goals are most important to you? 1, promote safe travel, maintain streets and highways. 2, support the valley's economy, support affordable development. 3, promote equitable transportation investments. 4, prepare for climate change and advance clean technology. 5, improve air quality and improve public health. And 6, reduce traffic congestion. And we'll give you a few minutes to answer your a few seconds to answer your question, to answer the question. A lot of participants. It's great.
All right, yeah, we have it. They're rolling in, almost everybody. We have 81% that has responded. Just give it another few seconds. But great, looks like 22 people have responded. Let me share the results.
Thank you. So it looks like the most important goal for this group is to promote safe travel, maintain streets and highways. The second most important is improve air quality and improve public health. And then reduce traffic congestion, followed by the remainder. Great, thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate your participation. It's super important to hear, what resonates with you. And so thanks for your feedback. It's much appreciated. Next. So as we noted in that previous slide, and we kind of look through the process, one of the important steps here is to really make sure that we have a comprehensive picture of State Route 99 and its communities. One of the things that really stands out in the valley, and again, both valleys, is the amount of population growth experienced in the last 20 plus years across the valley, north to south. We've seen growth rates in excess of 1% annually for over 20 years in most cases. And you're seeing Sacramento, as well, with numerical growth of 350,000 residents over 20 years, this 20-year timeline. And I'll admit, I'm part of the guilty, grew up and added my footprint as well in here and in the growth of the region. Looking forward, we do see the forecast, and I'm going to use that word, very intentionally, is that the growth is anticipated to slow. But we can imagine that some of those trends may need to be updated. But in looking at jobs, we'll see a different trend next up, where we see both, looking back, high amounts of growth, again, over 25% in most counties. But again, in this case, we continue to see robust employment growth looking ahead through the horizon year. And so, we understand that there's going to be high demands for travel along and across the corridor, within these regions, and also connecting to other parts of the state. Next slide. Another key part of our, assessment and review of the corridor is really looking at the transportation system in total. First off, and I'm sure most all of you are very familiar with the state highway system and the interstate system in this part of the valley. Next slide. And in addition to that, the rail network that also serves the valley as well. This map is a combined map showing both passenger rail, future high-speed rail, as well as local short line and heavy freight, interstate freight lines as well. And of particular importance on that are the connections to Southern California for the rail system, the freight rail system in particular, and it remains the only north-south heavy rail system in operation in the state, with the coast route falling out of use. So in addition to the highways, in the freight system, the corridor is also served by numerous bus operators as well, which are included here in our final map. A number of different transit operators, about 10 transit operators, provide service on State Route 99, in addition to a number of private bus operators like Greyhound and Flixbus that also provide critical service in the corridor, and then also connecting to other parts of the state, as well as California's Amtrak bus network, which connects to other parts of the state as well. Next, and in looking at how that State Route 99 corridor in particular is used, we see a pretty wide variety in daily trips. Not surprising, the heaviest travel coming in the Sacramento region with over 200,000 trips per day. Fresno and Kern counties closer to 160,000, and Stanislaus and San Joaquin closer to 140,000 daily vehicle trips. Next slide. We see, though, in looking more closely on these segments, the heaviest traffic is really seen around Bakersfield and Fresno in the southern segment. Next slide. Bill, next. Thanks. A huge, looking at the north segment, also, we see heavy traffic north of Turlock, and then as you can see, as you saw in the previous slide, approaching Fresno as well. In particular, though, traffic gets heavy getting close to Sacramento, as noted before, but also as we approach the 205 from both the north and the south. Next slide. When we take out and just look at the goods movement, we know that this is a very important goods movement corridor, both on rail and on trucks. A quarter of the nation's food supply coming from the Central Valley, and obviously a huge economic generator for the valley, with over 25 million tons of goods moving between Bakersfield and Sacramento in 2022. Those products are from the valley's farms, from food and beverage manufacturers and consumer manufacturing and durable goods as well. State Route 99, we also are aware, does this heavy amount of freight and goods movement does contribute to higher emissions figures, and is a part of long-term strategies to clean up the state's and the nation's goods movement industry. And the corridor is also named as a priority both in the state goods freight plan and also in the clean freight plan that the state is recently adopted. Next slide. And some of the busiest segments for trucks are north and south of Bakersfield, with that critical connection to the high desert and to the Grapevine. in Fresno, especially between 198 State Route 41, and also in that zone from Stockton to Turlock, in and around Interstate 205 and the various logistics centers there. So with that, I'll hand it back for our next polling question based on some of these current conditions.
Great, thanks, Doug. Katie, we're ready for the next question. It's related to challenges traveling along the State Route 99 corridor. So the first option or first potential answer is of new homes, jobs, and infrastructure impacting trips. What do you think are those challenges? Development of new homes, jobs, and infrastructure impacting trips. 2, high traffic volumes and congestion. 3, high volumes of truck traffic and goods movement. 4, unsafe roadways or intersections. And 5, do I have alternatives to driving by car? We'll give you a few seconds to provide your answers. Your top 2 challenges.
All right, we have about half the participants. We'll give it another about 30 seconds. Thank you for everyone for their participation. All right, we have 22 people who have responded. Let me show the
Great.
results.
Thank you. So as you can see, looks like the most popular answer here is high volumes of truck traffic and goods movement, followed by unsafe roadways or intersections, and then high traffic volumes and congestion. Great, thank you so much. Doug?
Well, thanks everybody. And again, we appreciate that high level of participation. You know, I think in understanding both the goals that are most important to you and these issues that we're seeing and experiencing in the corridor, these responses are critically important as we look forward to preparing with you all the solutions that we will be needing to include in the final plan. And tackling truck traffic, among other things, has been something we heard loud and clear last week as well. And State Route 99 does have some of the highest truck volumes and percentage of trucks on the road in the state. So it makes a lot of sense and helps us orient our actions. Next slide. So as we mentioned previously, we're moving into a phase of the study where we get to start to talk about what are some of the solutions that will allow communities along State Route 99 to address and tackle some of these really important priorities. And they aren't going to be the same, in Sacramento as in Madera, as in Modesto, as in Bakersfield. It is a long corridor with a variety of uses and communities along it. But we also know that those communities have already plans that they use to guide their investments and to try and shape a better future, whether that is looking at the creation of an inland port or a countywide transportation plan or short-range transit plans or active transportation plans to try and promote safe walking and biking. So we see this as an opportunity to highlight solutions that many of you have likely already given input on, and continue to work with you all to develop and build new ideas that are needed in the corridor to address those issues that you just responded to in these surveys and in these polling questions. So with that, our next poll is, in my opinion, probably the most challenging one. And I will leave it, I'll put Georgina on the spot to help us walk through this one for you all.
Great. So we're ready for our next polling question related to potential solutions to address the challenges along State Route 99. Some additional solutions may include widening of freeway off-ramps, new freeway connectors, widening bridges, constructing new bus stops along adjacent streets and roads along the corridor, new and expanded multimodal centers, including bus and rail and bike and pedestrian facilities, bike lanes, trails, and pedestrian facilities, and other solutions. What we would like for you to do is if you could please provide what you believe are some of the solutions that are important to you in the chat box for this question. We'll give you a few minutes to provide your answers, but we really look forward to hearing some of your solutions and what you think would work along the corridor. How are we doing, Doug? We have some great solutions identified.
Well, I want to applaud Connie and Lawrence. They just hit the ground running. So don't be shy here, folks. You know, if we've got an idea that's always been on your mind or a certain school you've always wanted to make sure your kids could get to safely, you know, a certain curve or overpass that seems especially unsafe to you, now's the time. So I've seen some good ideas, and they're starting to come in thick and fast. So thanks for that.
Great. And please think in all modes, whether it's car, truck, bike, rail, transit. I think we still have people adding some solutions. This is great.
That is what we're here for sure. So some early ideas I've seen include more roadway capacity on 99 in particular, a specific suggestion for a separate roadway for trucks, comments on making the highway more attractive.
Better signage.
Yep, and signage, that's right, and better plants. The promotion of alternate modes, which is appreciative to try and make sure there's some alternatives to single person car trips. Project delivery, always an issue in the industry for sure. And I see, all right, I'm going to admit, I don't know what Lawrence's reference is. More elephants on the overpass. I missed that one. Who knows what that is?
Yeah, I believe it's
a mural?
art that's up on the overpasses to the north of us
I missed
in
it.
Merced County, I believe.
Love it.
They're really nice, actually. Or it's in Madeira to the north, because we do have the mammoth
Yeah.
feature out there. So it's really nice. You get a chance to see it. They've done a good job putting those over the on the overpass.
I see an idea here specifically about remedying some of the heavy impact from trucks and warehouses, and making sure that the industry is kind of paying its paying a share of road repair as well. Yeah, lots of folks with feedback, continued feedback on the appearance of the corridor as well. I'm sorry, Gareen, if I've got your name wrong. You said improvements to the interchanges, and maybe if you have more details, you could name a couple of the interchanges you have in mind. That would be helpful. Seeing lots of good ideas. John mentioned more pedestrian overcrossings along the corridor, and making, I think that could be a big help in terms of helping folks get across. And Jay also mentioned something similar to make sure that pedestrians and others have safe ways across the and around some of that freeway traffic as it is getting on and off the freeway as well. Improving safety barriers and safety barriers that do a better job of absorbing collisions or impacts. I see somebody, Sabrina, said thank you for a recent slurry seal project on 99. And I bet, I'm going to guess, Sabrina would like to see more of those. I'm just guessing, Sabrina, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. So looks like I saw a number of comments about kind of the changing number of lanes and that inconsistency. It sounds like that certainly might be challenging for drivers as well. And we've seen a number of folks with concerns about bikes and pedestrian safety, and maybe it's pedestrian safety in particular, and a desire to take better care of our infrastructure as well, which I think is going to be a huge lift and a real opportunity for us to highlight that here.
I like the solution related to additional park and ride lots along State Route 99. That's a really good one. Okay, are we ready to move on?
I think so, but we're not, I would just note, we're not closing down the chat.
Right.
So
Keep
the
adding-
chat remains open. So if you keep thinking of ideas or appreciations, please, don't hesitate to share them.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. So the next steps, what happens next? Next slide, please. There are 8 total meetings in this round of community events or forums that we're conducting. If you have friends or family or colleagues who would be interested in attending one of these events this month, please share this information with them. We will email the invites for these meetings to you following tonight's meeting. So we'll email those out to you so that you know exactly when they're going to be held and how to register for those events. Following this series of community events and forums, we will thoroughly review your feedback from tonight's meeting, as well as from the other events and forums that are occurring this month. And then following the conclusion of all 8 sessions, the team will create an outreach report. And we'll be able to get that report out to Caltrans as well as to you once all of these events are complete. Next slide, please. This particular slide you've seen before. It shows the 4 major products of this planning process. The first two have been completed, as Doug noted. The next steps will be to identify solutions, and those solutions that you provided to us tonight will be key in that analysis. And then finally, developing the implementation plan. We've also included this slide again in Spanish, and we'll get to that in just a second so that you can, those Spanish attendees can also see the slide in Spanish. It's just it's too large to put on to one slide. So those additional tasks will be coming up over the next year or so. And at those events, we will highlight and discuss the identified solutions to address the challenges that you helped us identify tonight, and to receive your feedback on those solutions. Next slide, please. So again, this is that same slide in Spanish. We'll just leave a few minutes for Spanish attendees to review it in Spanish. Okay, next slide, please. So if you have other questions or comments after tonight's session, if you could please call our hotline. The number is 559-272-4561, or you can also email us at SR99 CMCP at dot.ca.gov. And we've shown both of those references on the slide. Please follow directions when using the hotline, and we will return your call or send you a response within 3 working days. Regarding the information and videos presented tonight, the PowerPoint and the outreach report that I mentioned previously, we'll follow up with an email to let you know when and where to find those materials online. And again, they will be prepared following all 8 sessions. And we have about 9 minutes remaining. If you could go ahead and continue to provide your comments in the chat box, any additional solutions, any other challenges that you would like to list that you didn't get an opportunity to do. We'd really appreciate any additional comments you might have, because all of those comments are going to be recorded and reviewed and taken into consideration as we move on to the next step in the project. Thank you again for taking the time out of your busy day and evening to attend this important event. Your input, as we've said throughout this, is very much appreciated and very important. So please leave additional comments and we'll sign off in the next 8 minutes or so. Thank you again. Go San Francisco Giants. Great comment, Aaron. More roundabouts everywhere. As Doug mentioned previously, if there are specific locations that do cause a bottleneck, where bottlenecks occur, or that where you perceive a lot of accidents to occur, or specific issues trying to cross the freeway, if you could let us know, that'd be very helpful. If we could get your comments by the end of the month, that would be wonderful. You're welcome. About 4 minutes left. Thank you, Kurt. Okay, we've got 1 minute to provide any additional comments. Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you so much.